I have many legal immigrants working with me. Many of them come from Mexico. They love me. I love them. And I'll tell you something. If I get the nomination, I'll win the Latino vote. I will win it.
Donald Trump exuding confidence following the fallout from his presidential announcement and subsequent comments he's made. Like him or not, his comments have been dominating the airwaves. But is there a double standard in the media's treatment of Donald Trump? For more on this story, we're pleased to be joined by the Director of Media Analysis for the Media Research Center, Tim Graham, Skyping in from Washington. Tim, it's so good to have you here on Newsmax Prime.
Thanks.
Let's just begin with the obvious question. Is the liberal media targeting Donald Trump?
There's no question, and there's probably no question that he's enjoying the attention. But there's clearly a double standard. I mean, they've been running around saying, Chuck Todd in particular, that Donald Trump is the new Todd Aiken, which is their way of trying to remind everybody what they did to Todd Aiken in 2012 in the Senate race in Missouri. Todd Aiken had said something about legitimate rape. I think that's kind of what Bernie Sanders has written now. And they're not, these are the same networks that ignore all the gaffes and weird statements made by the Democratic candidates. So that double standard is clearly in effect.
Now, according to Politico, CNN's president originally told his producers not to cover Trump. But after Trump's controversial comments during the announcement speech, CNN has covered Trump more than 400 times. Why this obvious change of heart?
Well, one, I think they can say that they think this is a viewer-centric story. They think that he's sort of a tabloid figure. That's one. I think they think that it would be good for their ratings. I think it's also true, though, that liberal journalists right now are loving the idea of Trump ruining the Republican brand with minorities, which of course they've already suggested is disaster. They're just going to really try to underline it and enjoy it in this particular case.
Well, it seems that the Republican brand has challenges of its own. But that aside, Tim, the other thing, I think you may have touched on this a second ago, the old saying that there's no such thing as bad publicity. Does this, in fact, seem to be the case for Donald Trump?
Well, I think, again, if you look at where he is in some of these latest polls, the Trump people would probably say yes, that the attention is good. And in a field with this many candidates, he's completely dominating the attention. And so if you're a different candidate, I mean, we have Ted Cruz and Rick Santorum are actually going on with Chris Matthews. That's pretty brave stuff for people who are trying to get some attention. It's quite a contrast with Hillary Clinton just going on CNN instead of Fox.
Well, this seems to be the polar opposite of a feeding frenzy in terms of being targeted by the media. This seems to be all Trump-driven because people just have an interest in what he has to say. In the long run, will all this attention hurt or help Trump in his candidacy?
Boy, that's a tough one. I'm not sure. I think that Republican primary voters, when we get to these primaries, are going to say, well, we need to vote for somebody who's going to win. And I think if you look at the head-to-head polls right now, Trump doesn't look too good against Hillary. And I think that's going to be one of the factors that makes it tough for people to vote for him.
Well, this is a very interesting thing we're seeing unfold in front of us. And you've been following TV trends for some time. Is there anything historically that parallels this one? Maybe Ross Perot in '92?
Well, certainly Trump as a figure is very much like Perot in that it's a successful businessman who's never run for office, who's going to start by running for president, who basically, he has that same appeal to voters, that he's somebody who can just come in and fix Washington and be plain spoken. People love somebody who's plain spoken. And yet, this is why the media is enjoying it, because plain spoken is what they drive out of every politician.
Well, if we've heard this so much, the outrage on politically incorrect comments, does that ever wear out its welcome? Could it really redound to Trump's advantage down the home stretch? We got about 30 seconds.
Well, I just think that people looked at the nut of what he said, which was, we do have a problem with illegal alien crime. And it's something the networks have never, ever wanted to focus on until now.
One last question, 20 seconds. Has Donald Trump changed the conversation in terms of what the American people have on their minds in this campaign?
Well, certainly right now, immigration wasn't probably an issue that was going to dominate here in the summertime. You would have thought that issue had sort of gone off the table. He put it right back on again.
And a lot of us think we're the better for having that discussion front and center. Tim Graham of the Media Research Center. Sir, we thank you for your time tonight on Newsmax Prime. And so
Sure.
The question is this. Can Donald Trump, in fact, go all the way, win the Republican nomination? He's leading in a lot of polls right now, but we're curious. Who is your choice for the GOP's 2016 nominee? Here's how you vote. Go to newsmaxpolls.com. That's newsmaxpolls.com.